Welcome to the part 3 of section 2. In this section, we take a deeper look at the AgileSHIFT practices, namely engaging stakeholders, building collaborative teams, planning to be flexible and adaptable, delivering iteratively and incrementally, and measuring value. First practice, engage stakeholders. A stakeholder is any individual or group that influences or is affected by the processes, services, products, work, outcomes, and values created. Stakeholder is a commonly used term. Stakeholder engagement is critical for the success of any organization. Smaller organizations closely involve and therefore understand their stakeholders much better than larger ones. This is lost as the organization grows because focus moves towards issues and preferences. Therefore, stakeholder engagement becomes weaker as organizations grow in size. AgileSHIFT states that engaging with stakeholders closely is a core practice of working effectively in agile ways. Engagement is not the same as management. It is more than that, because stakeholders are individuals or groups with feelings, perceptions, needs, and influence. They do not appreciate attempts to manage them or to be manipulated. Therefore, engagement seeks to take seriously the various agendas of stakeholders, understand their challenges, and listen as well as speak. A different way or a better way of engagement can motivate a certain employee. The right mindset to engagement is important before communications, which means that communication is important in any endeavor, but a strategy towards communication as to how the communication could happen will make a better engagement. The practice of engaging stakeholders results in a simple engagement cycle, which has 5 steps to it. It begins with identifying and analyzing stakeholders, defining a strategy for them or for each of them, planning the communications for each of them, engaging them, and reviewing and amending the strategy. Note that this cycle is not fixed or rigid. Let us take a deeper look at this cycle of engagement. In the identify and analyze step of the engagement cycle, it is about starting the engagement by identifying all the stakeholders involved and gaining an understanding of their position in relation to the work you're about to undertake. This could include several techniques such as stakeholder mapping, stakeholder profiling, power, interest, influence matrices. For example, understanding the power and interest of stakeholders. Certain stakeholders may have higher power and authority, but less interest in the day-to-day affairs of those activities. But others, such as younger people, for example, could be more interested in everything that is happening, but have less authority. Again, when I say younger, doesn't mean that younger people will not have authority. Stakeholder profiling, meaning classifying stakeholders into different categories or personas. And stakeholder mapping can be more visual indication about who are the key stakeholders and who are less important stakeholders. They can also be mapped into different quadrants or different corners of a cube or different portions into different circles of stakeholders. Once the stakeholders are identified and analyzed, then it is about defining a strategy for them, meaning how to best engage with them. Engagement strategy should consider approaches to engagement and what communication channels to be used and how to review the success of the engagement. Channels, for example, could be face-to-face or over the phone or through video conferencing, through a presentation of newsletters, and so on. Engagement could also happen through feedback sessions, surveys, etc. Planning the communications. Planning for successful communication should consider 4 elements. Firstly, understanding the stakeholders, sending the right message to the right audience. That is, the messages need to be clear and consistent. There needs to be an effective system of delivery, meaning use the right channels of communication and also collection of feedback and responding to them. So there is a difference between the previous step of defining the strategy and this step of planning your communications, though they are closely related. Just to be very clear, the previous step of defining a strategy means more about, should it be a regular interaction? Should it be a face-to-face interaction? And understanding the nature of confidential information as well, and other things also. Whereas this is about more detailed planning of the communications. For example, sending a weekly report or a periodic survey and so on. Then comes the engage step. This is walking the talk or doing the plan, implementing the plan. This is key to effective stakeholder engagement and must always be a frequent step. This is where stakeholders are listened to and spoken with, and their issues and concerns are addressed, and their future needs are anticipated, and action plans need to be developed for that and implemented again in a subsequent engage step. All other steps are pointless if we do not actively engage with our stakeholders. A number of tools, techniques, and steps of AgileSHIFT are designed to support this proactive engagement, which we will see later on. Review and amend. This is about tracking how well the engagement is happening and modifying the strategy and the plan of engagement. You could say, this is like plan, do, show, listen.